Hello all and welcome to the latest Craftmania Sunday Showcase. Today we have a brand new collection of dies and decoupage sheets on a manly theme. If I had £1 for every time somebody had said to me, oh I wish we had more for men, I'd be a millionaire. So today I bring you a complete collection that's perfect for the men in your life. But before you switch off, if you haven't got that many men about, don't panic. I've got some lovely examples that I'm going to share with you which have got absolutely nothing to do with men's cards at all. We've even got a couple of wedding bits. So do hang on in there. I've got 12 examples I'm going to show you. We'll try and keep it as quick as possible because I don't want to take up all of your day. But we'll start off by having a little look at the dies themselves. So if we start off over here, the first one we have is a gorgeous scalloped border. And you'll notice in it, it's got a little vintage car. Now, of course, on my examples, I'll show you this cut out, and I'll also show you some ways to cover up the car so you can get more use out of it than just that. This die is £6.99. Moving on, we have another border die, which actually matches quite well with the first one, and again, I'll show you a couple of examples of how you can use that. This one, again, is £6.99. Has these lovely little spanners popped into it, but of course we can get rid of them, so I'll show you that as well in the examples. And then moving on, now this I have completely fell in love with. When it arrived I was a little unsure, but I think you're going to love this. I predict that this will sell out very, very quickly. So if you do want this one, don't hang about, get in very, very quick. It's only £12.99, and considering the size of it and the work that's in it, it's an absolute bargain. I couldn't believe it when we added it up and it was only £12.99, and I think you'll love it. So, okay, moving on to our next one. We have a lovely little corner, which of course you can do so much with. This one again has lots of little tools hidden into it. Great for steampunk as well. This one again is £6.99. Moving across to our next one, we have this gorgeous little lorry, which I think is good also for kids' cards. Don't forget children's cards, lovely for a little boy. You could even put their name on the side of the lorry, or their age maybe. This one's only £4.99. And then our last die in today's collection is this corner, which has a gorgeous little plane hidden in the side of it here. And I'll show you a couple of little things I've done with that one as well on our examples. Then moving on, we have some decoupage sheets. Now these are all die cut for you, so you're just going to pop them out, follow the numbers and build up the items. So I've already done them to show you what they're going to look like. This is your train sheet. Now these are available individually, they're £1.19, they're A4 sheets to give you an idea, but each sheet has got 3 images on it. So that's our train collection. Moving on, we have our lorries, which are quite cool. I like them again for little boys' cards, I think that'd be brilliant. But they're quite nicely coloured because they're quite bright, so you could use them for children's cards. But again, in the same breath, quite muted, so they're good for men's cards. They're really lovely, lovely sheets. Our third sheet is all different cars, so we've got a Beetle on there and a Cadillac, and there's even a little mention of Route 66. Again, so you've got a couple of like little different themes you can go with that one. I haven't got them built up down here because you're going to see all of them on the cards I've made today. Now again, they're only £1.19 a sheet, and all of the bits I've shown you today you can of course buy separately. But we do have an amazing Sunday Showcase offer. But we'll chat a little bit about that at the end. Let's get on with showing you some of the cards I've made. So we'll start off over this side. This is my first card. Now this one's a really simple, quick card. It's just got that gorgeous border on it that's got the little spanners in here. Just tucked it under the stopper for the easel. And I've attached it on the top here, at the top of the easel card, by just double-sided taping it to the reverse of the card, just to have it hang over, a bit like an edgeability die. The decoupage on the front here is one off of the cars sheet. As I said, you'd see them as the examples go on. That's the first one of those. But just a lovely, simple, clean-cut, crisp, quick card to make. It only took a few minutes. But nice and simple to do. We'll talk a little bit later on about the papers in the background. If you've been a bit eagle-eyed here, you will notice that the paper's matching with the car, and I haven't shown you them yet. There is a reason for that, but we'll come back to that towards the end of the video. Moving on, I'll show you this one. Now this actually is a good place to start off by talking about that gorgeous die I was talking about earlier. That's this one. This is your £12.99 background die. Now I've cut this out in blue card, and then as you can possibly see already, I've just gone and snipped off all the way around it to turn it into a frame. because I like to show you different ways you can get more value for money out of these dies. Dies can be expensive, and the last thing you want is a one-trick pony. So I'm trying to show you different ways you can use them. So all I've done is just cut it out and turned it into a frame. The bit I've actually removed from in the middle, I've put behind the aperture here on my frame. So nothing's wasted, it all comes in handy somewhere. And this design's brilliant because you could even cut it into borders as well. Or if you wanted to, you could of course turn them into corners. There really isn't a limit to this one, it's just your imagination. So steal my ideas, come up with your own, and you're going to love this die. It really is one you need. Anyway, waffling on about that one, let's talk about this one. This is the one with a car in the middle of it, the very first die I show you. I've actually covered mine up at the back, so I can't show you the reverse of it, but we'll show you some later. Actually, the car is hidden about there on this, but I just wanted to show you can use it just as an edge. You don't have to have the car, it's just a gorgeous little edge. You could, of course, have it popping at the top of your cards, a bit like we show you on the card that I showed you a moment ago, but it's just a good, fun edge to use. And it's one of them dies that the colour really depicts the theme, so it doesn't matter what you're doing, it could fit in with anything, whether you're thinking of Christmas, Easter, whatever. Of course, you've noticed down here the little lorry, that's our $4.99 die. I've just cut round it to give it a backing as well, so I've done a blue behind for it, and cut this one out a silver mirror card. Oh no, sorry, I'm lying to you, silver pearl card, but it's a lovely little shimmer. Moving on. We'll chat about this one. So I do like my easel cards, I'm not going to lie, I've confessed this before, and this time I've gone for a twisted easel, so it just pops up and stays there. Now again, I've taken that same spanner border, popped it on the top just as an edgeability as such. On the side here I've got that gorgeous plain corner. Now with this one I've actually cut it out and layered it. That plain is perfect to cut out. So here's one I've cut out just so you can see it as a plain. Now, of course, there's so many options you could do with that. Forget the corner aspect. If you wanted to, you could even attach these on some acetate and hang them over the front of the card so it looked like a little fleet of planes flying through the sky, if you wish to. There's so many things you could do with this, but I only have one day to make my samples, so we have to cut something somewhere, but it does show you that you can do it. And it is a gorgeous little corner as well. You could of course also put panels over it and just have the corner showing. So again, it's got quite a lot of options. Now down the side here in this little corner, we've got that tall corner die. That was this one. Again, only $6.99. I've just popped it there. I've also cleverly cut off part of it for this piece, just because I wanted to show you that you don't have to keep it as an L shape. If you do just want to use little bits from it, I've just cut it off on this side of that cog as such to remove that part, just to keep it a bit smaller on the front there. Again, quite a quick, simple, easy card to do. Nothing too highfalutin. Now, talking of that corner, I wanted to show you a different idea as well. This is just a standard square aperture card, and I've done a bit of trickery to turn it into a domed fronted card, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But I wanted to show you how you could take 4 of these, which is all I've done, is just cut it 4 times and married it up to actually make a border. And they all click in together. Because of these obviously run opposite to each other, you could just tie them onto one another. And I've just gilding waxed over the top of mine, cut it out of black linen card, just gilding waxed over the top with some silver, and created my border. Now my one regret is I didn't think of doing the gilding wax until I'd put the border on the card. So I have got a little bit over the edges, but these are just prototypes to show you ideas really. So if you were doing it at home, gilding wax first would be my advice. In the back here, hopefully you can see that's hidden away a little bit, but we have that gorgeous lorry die again. That's our $4.99 lorry. Again, cut out of black linen and just gilding wax over the top of it, just to show you a bit more of a rugged and sort of antique-y effect on it. In the background, at the top and the bottom, I'll try and move this out of the way so you can see it a little bit better. We have that same spanner die again. Again, black linen and just distressed over with the gilding wax just to give it a bit more of a shimmer. And I've done the same to the side here, just to put that panel coming out this side of the card instead this time. And then down here I've just attached a sentiment on some cocktail sticks, believe it or not, just to keep that up in the air as a little signpost. And that's it really, nice simple card. How to make the actual pop out front, if you haven't seen these before, is just take an ordinary aperture card where you've got the 3 folds to it, just cut a little bit off of the 3rd fold and score it and then reattach it on the side here so that it makes it a little bit tauter instead of being the same size as the back of the card. So it just pulls it in and domes the front. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, post in the comments and I'll do my best to explain it in there. Moving on to our next card, we have this one at the back. Now I do love a bit of gold and black. I think it goes really well together. So this time I've done gold, black and grey. Now again, I just wanted to show you a different use for this die. This is the one with the spanners in it. So I've just taken a square piece of card and put it into each side of it to make up a big square instead. Of course you could post this further in if you wanted to cover up the spanners, or of course you could remove them, and I'll show you some examples of that in just a moment. In the middle we have that gorgeous background die again. That's the one I really think you're going to fall in love with. This time I've just popped it on as a diamond, and I've actually foam padded this on in the centres to give it a little bit of height and a little bit of depth to it. The little car is the third one off of the decoupage sheet, so again that's going to go on there for you as well. Lovely little image on that one. A nice simple card again to do, just lots of layers. And then we'll move on and I'll show you the last one from that sheet. So this is our lovely little beetle. And again, I've gone for a twisted easel. I have gotten a bit of an addiction to these, haven't I? And across the top, I've done that same spanner topping again. Once I've done it once, that's it. I'm addicted to it. So it just sort of keeps appearing on every card. Again, I've done that corner, the tall corner, which is $6.99, but this time I wanted to actually attach my little message to it so it looked like it was hanging a bit like a signpost. And then down the base here I've got the same border corner again, but this time it's actually working as my easel stopper, so just a different use for that one this time. And then we'll go over to this side. Now I did promise you some stuff that isn't to do with men, and I've started off by showing you sort of the manly side really. So let's go to something a bit different. This one I thought I'd show you a bit more of an Art Deco effect. So again, ever so simple to do. This is the same big background die, but I didn't want to waste it off. So this bit is just the side of it cut off. You know how we spoke earlier about cutting bits off of it? Just cut the two sides off to put on the side here. This is just that ordinary white plain card. I've then taken the two central rows as such and cut down the sides of them to give me this backing panel. And then this is the same border with the spanners in it, but I've just posted that into both sides of my backing card and just rounded it up a little to give you that sort of central set. And then this is just a standard, I can't remember the name now, but we'll call it flower die. That'll work. I'm never any good with flowers. But I'll post the picture of that one in the comments so you can see the actual die of that one. But it comes in lots of different sizes, but I've just done mine in pearl black and pearl silver just to give you a different effect. And that's that card. Now, last week we had chocolates, didn't we? We had that wonderful display of chocolates. So this week I thought I'd move on a bit. We've got a bit of cake going on, but this time we're talking about weddings. So I've made a wedding cake out of boxes. Completely balmy, not going to lie. Started off with my first layer and then just got a little bit addicted to boxes and kept building. So if you may have seen these before, I'm certainly not the first person to do this style, but didn't actually think that's where I was heading, but just got a bit carried away really. So let's talk about this. At the bottom here, I've left the spanners in the sides of these, again because I didn't really know where I was heading. But of course, men do get married too, so a little bit of manly on the wedding cake doesn't hurt. I've taken the same border again, the one with the spanners in it, but this time I've just folded them in half to turn them into feet for my box. Now, to be honest, this was actually holding up my box quite nicely. And I had done all of my layers and got all of my weight distributed quite nicely, and these stood quite well. But then I actually sort of fell on it and sort of squished it a little, if I'm being honest. So I have put a central support in underneath, just to give it a little bit more protection than anything. It will stand, but of course my boxes are empty, and if you was going to be putting more in it, a little box underneath to support it certainly won't hurt. Now I have cheated. I have glued all of my layers together pretty much, so when you take the lid off, each box top stays attached to it, but that's more as a precaution to keep it together while I travel around with it and we show it in the lessons and bits. But of course you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Just reattaching my ribbon, that seems to have come away a little. And I'll show you on the top here, I've used that same die, just cut it down to match the top of my lid. I've wrapped ribbon around the sides of each of my lids, and of course we've got the large ribbon on the top. Moving down to the next layer, we have that same tall border, the one with the spanners in, and instead of facing down, this time I've posted it going up instead, so it's actually going above the top of that box. Moving down to the next layer, we have that gorgeous car border. We haven't spoke about that much, but we will be over the next couple of cards. Really love this one. Think it's a really beautiful one to add on here. And it's just, as I say, just freestanding above. I've just glued it at the bottom of the wheels to keep it in place, and the centres of the twiddles on the ends. But quite a simple project to make, but I quite like it. I always like white and black. I'm a bit of a monochrome fan, and I was quite chuffed with how that one came out. But of course, as this is a manly collection, I did want to show you a different use for this as well. And I am a little bit in love with this. I don't often go on about my own work. I'm not usually that cocky or confident, shall we say. But I quite like this. I think I might keep this in my front room. This is the same base layer as the wedding cake that I just showed you, except this time I've done it out of grey card, and I've gone over it with gilding wax, just gold gilding wax. Exactly the same setup, same corners folded in half, same car topper. The difference is on the top I've put the complete panel that's cut out from that die and just layered it on the top. And this time, cheekily from underneath the lid, I've attached the one with the spanners in it, just coming out of all four sides as an extra sort of decoration, because we haven't got all of the top layers going on like with a wedding cake. I just wanted it to have a little bit more interest. So that's all that is. That's just them same two dies, or three with the top one, just to create that as a different idea. Again, I've put a little foot in the middle of it just to keep it up, but these are surprisingly quite strong and will keep it quite in place. A lot of it is down to the weight of cardstock you use to cut them, to be honest, and of course how much you're going to put in the box. But you could just put a card in it, or of course you could put a present in it, or you could just use it as decoration. But anyway, just a little idea for you. Okay, so let's move on. Back to another manly one here. So this time we've got that same backing panel. I've cut it this time in a terracotta and backed it with a dark brown. Same spanner border coming out at the top. And then this time I wanted to show you with a car one how easy it is to cut this car out. These dies are so well designed that if you don't want to use the actual border bit and you want cars for a different theme or a different reason, or like this you just want to layer them in a different set, they're so easy to just snip out. They've really been well designed that it's easy to take them out. So that's all I've done this time. It's just layered it in a couple of different colours. It's worth also noting that these corners are the parts that are off of the other cars. So I've got a gold car, a brown car, and then the full complete die. So off of the ones where I've cut the cars out as such, I've just snipped off the sides and used these to be my corners underneath these layers. Now all of these just come off of a topper sheet that we sell in store, and the cars quite nicely match the ones that come on your border die. But of course you could pop anything in the middle of that. And with that in mind, I know over the last couple of weeks I've done a little bit of this. I like to show you how you can use the same card folds, the same idea, but do them in different colours, and then you get completely different effects. So this time I've done it, but instead of going for a manly theme, we've gone for a wedding theme. So exactly the same dies, pretty much put in the same places, same ideas, but this time I've cut them out of gold mirror card and layered them on lilac card. And of course added a wedding decoupage to it instead. Now this is the first time I can actually show you this, and I've left these open for a reason so you can see them. And I've done it on this card so you can see the difference. This is of course the die with the spanners in, but this one with a knife I've just cut them out so you've got these exposed circles. Now of course you could put gems into these, as you'll see on one of the cards I've got coming up in a moment, or I was actually thinking it might be quite nice to tie a ribbon around that, and then of course your bows are going to cover up the circles as well. But there's many different ideas you could do, but I just want to show you that don't be fooled into thinking that just because they've got tools on them you've got to use them for men's cards. I'm sure like me you don't have a budget to buy a die just for one project, so it's good to get more than one use out of them. Brilliant if you can get a different theme and a different style out of them. So again we've got the same card border at the bottom here. This time it is all done in gold, but I do have a bit of a thing for mirror card. I think it just gives that that elegant look, doesn't it? That bit of class, nice and simple. So that's that one, and our matching one, and I've shown you that one. So onto our very last card. Now this one I have cheated. I have a very slippery table that we do this on, and I struggle very much to keep tempt cards standing. So I tend to cheat and put little bars in the base of them so they stand up while we're on film. So please don't be fooled by thinking that's part of this card. This card just hangs, and it has a panel in the middle that free hangs, just to show you how easy it is to create that. All I've done is just tied it up on a bit of ribbon in the top. I've left this open, so it is quite a mess in the background, but I wanted to show you how I've hidden my different dies. So this was the first time that I actually wanted to use my card die, but not show you the card. So I've put the card die in all four sides at the back of the frame here, just to show you how well that the spanner border layers over the top of the car border, and you can then have them two different edges, and I thought that worked really, really nicely. But I wanted to show you on the reverse how simple that is. So there is our car, all complete, just foam padded on, and then underneath that we have the spanner one, and as you can see I've just done that on all four sides. Now of course if you was doing this as a card to give, don't think you've got to have this mess at all. Just do another frame and pop it over the top, or hide it with some ribbon, whatever you wish. But it's just showing you a different way that you can use the dies is really my aim. Now of course again on this one I've done the same borders with the spanners, but I've cut the spanners out this time, and I've just put large gems in around each side just to fill them holes. But of course you could put candy dots in them, or rhinestones, or as I said on the last one, we could tie ribbon through them. There's so many different options that these are just a few of my ideas, but I'm sure you've got your own. But that really completes all of my different examples for today. So it's time that we spoke about your actual offer. So just to run through them again, we have our car border die, that's $6.99. You've got your spanner border die, which is $6.99. You've got your large square die, which is $12.99. You've got your tall corner, which is $6.99. We've got our lorry, which is $4.99. And we've got our plain corner, which is $6.99. On top of that, you have the 3 different options with the decoupage sheets, and they're all £1.19 each. But of course this is a Sunday showcase, and we do like to spoil you. So what we're going to do for you this week is, if you was to buy this complete set at all the individual prices I've just told you about, you would pay £42.52. But this week, and this week only, so this will of course end at 5 PM on Saturday the 11th of March, so it just gives you a week to get it, but you can have all of this for £34.99, which is a saving of £8.51. So if it helps you out a little, because I of course have my favourite dies and favourite bits, and tend to think, oh well, if I was buying this, what bits would I want and what bits wouldn't I want? If it helps you, look at it this way. You could have the lorry and all of the decoupage sheets for free for the equivalent of just buying them bits. So with your £8 saving, even if there is a die you don't like, you're going to get it pretty much for free. And it's a perfect little set, a complete little bargain. To be honest, most dies this size from most companies that we normally deal with, that'd be a good 20 quid on its own. So that means then in that sense you're getting everything else for 15. So there's no way you can cut this and feel that it's bad value. It's a really good little set to have. Now of course, if you do want to splurge and have the whole set, we're going to reward you this week with double points as well. But don't panic if you don't want all of it and you do just want to cherry pick the bits you like, we'll give you double points on them as well. But again, that is just for this week only. I'll post all of the individual items in the comments on our Facebook page. So if you do just want one of the dies or one of the decoupage sheets, whatever you wish for, you can just find the individual pictures, comment on the items you want, and we'll have them held for you in store, or of course we can post them to you. If you wish to have the complete offer, we'll also have a photo of that as well, so you can just comment on that one and we'll have that held. Now, of course, all of the cards I've shown you today will be uploaded to our Facebook page throughout the week as well, just to keep reminding you of the different projects we've made with this week's Sunday Showcase. But they'll also be put onto our Pinterest page as well. So if you are a Pinterest member, you can find us at Craftmania UK, and then you can pin all of your favourites and go back to them whenever you wish to. Now the final thing I wanted to talk to you about as well is I told you at the very beginning we had some matching papers that go with this collection. I didn't point them out on all of the cards, but we've got a couple of them dotted about throughout them. There is a matching pad to this collection, but to be honest, this has been so popular already on pre-orders alone. The company we got them from has already sold out. But if you do want the matching pad, let us know in the comments and we'll have it held for you when it comes back into stock for us. I can't actually give you a timeline on this because it isn't actually under our control. It's when our wholesaler gets them back in stock. But I will give you a little flick through the pad just so you can see what's coming up. And if you do want them, as I say, just post in the comments, we'll have it held for you. The pad, again, consists of 3 sheets of each design. You get lots of different backgrounds in these, and the colours match perfectly with your decoupage sheets, and the themes match perfectly with the dies that go with them. I quite like with the pads as well, like you've got a really bright side if you want the brighter side of it, but on the reverse they've toned it down a bit as well. So it depends on what cards you're making. Again, great for kids cards one side, adult the other maybe. But the designs are just beautiful. They really do match in well. These are the same cards as you see on the decoupage sheets earlier, but if you don't want them, on the back you've just got the road signs. So they've really thought of everything for this pad. It's a really lovely little set that will work perfectly with this collection. When these come back in stock, they're going to be £4.69. And as I say, if you do want one, do just pop in the comments and we'll have that held for you as well when they arrive. As always, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I'll give you a couple of ideas with some of the cards we've made. Once again, just a reminder, they will be on Pinterest and we will upload them throughout the week. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all next Sunday when we have our next Sunday showcase. Bye for now. Bye-bye.